everyone. Thanks for hopping on and watching today's video. This video is really a long time in the making. I've been wanting to either write a blog post or do a video about this topic for a couple of years now, but I've actually gotten a lot of requests for updates about my healing journey in the last little bit. So it really inspired me to just hop on here and record a video and talk about what I want to talk about today. So welcome. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Jessica Espinoza and I'm a mind, body, soul health coach. I focus on helping women make peace with food and body so that they can really step forward into the life that they've always been dreaming about. In addition to that, you'll see a whole bunch of different topics shared on this YouTube channel and my social media because I just like a lot of different things. So welcome, I'm glad you're here. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for checking out today's video. So let's dive into the topic today, and that is why I no longer share blog posts about my healing journey. So like I said, this video was a really long time coming, and I've been wanting to do it for a while, but just had never taken the time to sit down and kind of collect my thoughts and hop on here and actually record the video. So here I am. So for those of you who have been following me since the beginning, essentially, I started blogging back in 2009. The blog that you guys know today, DeliciousObsessions.com, that was actually founded in 2010. And yeah, I just started sharing recipes and stuff about health and nutrition, and then it kind of just grew from there. In 2012, I decided it was time to really start taking charge of my health, take a look at some health issues that I suspected but had never actually really addressed, and really just move forward on a healing journey and put my health on the front burner, because up until that point, I had really been focusing just on my career and working and just being, you know, a young adult, and had not really paid a whole lot of attention to my health, at least in terms of kind of facing the issues that I knew I had. So 2012 is what I consider the beginning of my healing journey. And that is also the time that I started blogging about my healing journey and a lot of specifics about my health as well. So I originally started blogging about my healing journey because I really wanted to help people on their journey. Each of our journeys is unique, but there's a lot of similarities too. There's a lot of common things that we are all going to go through depending on, you know, if we have the same type of autoimmune condition or other chronic illness. There's going to be similarities as well as differences. And so I really wanted to share my experience, the things that I was doing that was helping me, the doctors that I was working with, and that kind of stuff. So I actually did that pretty regularly for about 2 years. I shared a lot of intimate details about my current health. I shared lab reports. I shared doctors' names. I shared really intimate details about my health, for lack of better way to describe it. And so I did that up until about 2014, and then I kind of stopped. I started having a little bit of resistance to sharing so much, and then after that, I just kind of took a break. And then after my break, I just decided that I really didn't want to do those type of posts again. So I just kind of stopped sharing about my health journey. And for those of you that remember my series, it was called the Let's Get Personal series. And so it was very, very personal. So I decided to kind of stop that series, but I never actually went on to my site and did a blog post or an update about why I stopped that. So better late than never. I know it's 4 years later, but here we are. So I wanted to talk about kind of the main reasons why I stopped sharing all of those intimate details. So I will preface this with the fact that I do still share about chronic illness and my healing journey, but what I share is a lot more general. I don't go into a whole lot of specifics about, like, I guess the more intimate details, like sharing lab work and sharing doctors' names and stuff like that. And so I still think it's beneficial for us to share our stories because there's a lot of people out there that we can reach. So regardless of whether you're a fellow blogger or entrepreneur, or if you're just an average person dealing with health problems, there's still a lot of value in you sharing your story with others in whatever way you can do that, whether it means starting a blog or starting a YouTube channel or just talking to people in your community and sharing your story. There is a ton of value in there. And so I don't want to dissuade people from sharing their story, and I'm certainly not going to stop sharing mine, but I had to establish some really clear boundaries for what I did share and who I shared it with. So the primary reasons that I decided to stop sharing the really intimate details about my healing journey, so that would include lab work, doctors' names, and really kind of the nitty-gritty personal things, there was a few reasons. So the first reason was that it just started to get to be too much. It was really overwhelming for me to write the blog post and to really open up and be super vulnerable about what was going on with my health. I went through a period of time, I have had ups and downs in my healing journey, and I went through a period of time where it just didn't feel right to be sharing those intimate details in public on my site and on social media. So I just kind of stopped. And then from there, I actually decided that I didn't feel comfortable sharing it for a couple of other reasons. So another reason is that, you know, we live in an online world where all of our personal information is at the fingertips of pretty much anybody. And I started realizing that really talking about the specifics of my health could potentially harm me in the long run. We never know what's going to be done with our information, and with the state of the government currently in the United States, and with privacy issues, with the healthcare crisis and all of the insurance nonsense that's going on, I really felt that it wasn't smart for me to be putting out there, I have X, Y, and Z diagnosis, and I have all of these issues, and here's all of the things that I'm doing. From a protection standpoint, not only those issues that I just talked about, but also there's the issue of the FDA. The FDA and the government really don't like holistic alternative treatments, and so anytime I would publish something about an alternative treatment that I was using, or anything kind of out of the mainstream Western medicine model, it kind of opens me up for risk for being targeted by the FDA. And I know a lot of people probably think that's kind of crazy. I honestly don't think that the FDA is going to come and target me. I'm relatively small, but I have heard a lot of stories over the years of bloggers just like me who have been targeted, who have had the dietetics and nutrition boards come after them for sharing nutrition information on their blog. So depending on what state you live in, you can actually run a pretty severe risk by sharing information like this. So I decided, for a protection standpoint, not just for my privacy and my long-term privacy of my private data, and also from the legal standpoint of I really just didn't want to become a target, I decided it was probably safer for me to stop sharing that information. So that is reason number 2. Reason number 3 goes into the fact that whenever you share vulnerably, there's always going to be people who either have to chime in with their negative 2 cents. We like to call those people trolls. So I would, almost every time I would share something really personal on social media or on my blog, I would get negative comments or negative emails with a variety of different negative things in them. And that, for as thick of a skin as I feel like I've grown over the years, each time you get one of those, it still hurts and it still stings. And it just got to be a little bit overwhelming for me too. I tend to get overwhelmed pretty easily, and so dealing with the negative comments kind of became a lot, and it just wasn't helping my health in any way. So that was kind of the first part of this reason. The second part is also anytime you share something vulnerably online or in a public forum, there's always going to be people who think that they have the perfect advice to help your situation. And I really, really love hearing from my readers and the people in my community, and I love people who ask questions, and I absolutely welcome that. But I was getting a lot of people who were emailing saying that either what I was doing, like the way that I was handling my health conditions, was wrong or dangerous, or I needed to do this and that would be the thing that healed me. So I got a lot of unsolicited advice about my health, and frankly, it was too much to handle. I love to get input from people, but when it comes to my health, I really have learned to set boundaries about who I welcome into that space. And I do that for a couple of reasons. I've spent a lot of time over the years experimenting with things that haven't worked, and spent a lot of time and a lot of money on things that don't work. So now I really try to seek out practitioners who are going to be a good fit for my needs and for my journey, and really kind of adhere to what they are saying, at least until we can see what's working. And then I totally lost my train of thought there. And then it just, oh yeah, so boundaries. Boundaries is a huge thing that I have had to learn over the years. So establishing boundaries is a really, really good way. It's actually the primary way that we can preserve our own energy and our own safety. So if you are dealing with chronic illness, you know how exhausting it can be, especially some of the more hidden, or we like to call them invisible chronic illnesses. Those can be really, really hard on our energy, and not just our physical energy, but our mental and emotional energy as well. And so I've learned that establishing these boundaries is absolutely critical for me to preserve my energy and keep me safe and sane, and not overextending myself to where I'm just completely fatigued and crapped out because I've tried to do too much. And so establishing these boundaries of who I've let into this really sacred space around my health was really, really important in me actually making strides forward and not getting stuck in all of this stuff. So those are really the primary reasons that I stopped sharing. So my health journey posts, the Let's Get Personal posts, those are still some of the most read on my site, and I'm really glad that information has been super helpful for people. I've gotten a lot of really positive feedback and great questions, and just wonderful, wonderful support from my community. So it hasn't been all trolls. It hasn't been all negative. I've gotten a lot of positive, beautiful things from it. And I'm really glad that those posts are helping people, and they're not going anywhere. They're going to stay on my blog. But at the same time, I also get a lot of questions about how come you haven't updated your Let's Get Personal series since 2014. And so this is the primary reason. So I wanted to take time to hop on here and shoot a video about this and let you guys know that this is really the reason why. And so I'm going to be putting this also in a blog post on my website. So depending on where you're at, if you're on YouTube or social media, you might just be watching the video. If you're on my site, then you're reading the post and watching the video as well. So I will link to the posts in the previous series so you guys can check those out if you're new to the site. I also want to welcome questions and comments and everything as well. So I'm not completely shutting myself off from that. I really do love my community, and we've built a really strong, tight-knit community over all of these years since 2009. So I'm definitely not trying to shut that down, but I know so many of you can relate to that energy issue and really that just protecting ourselves, because chronic illness can be it can be a lot to handle at times. So that really is about everything that I wanted to say today, and I hope this is helpful. I hope that you guys understand, and I hope that it's also encouraging to you if you also are feeling stuck in your healing journey, or you're feeling like you're just taking on too much outside chatter into your space, then this is a really good opportunity to explore what boundaries you have in place. And a lot of times we, especially women, don't have good boundaries established. We're not taught to set up boundaries when we're little. And we're not really taught to protect this sacred space of us. So I hope that you can take this video as inspiration to start really thinking about the boundaries. Think about the people that you're letting into this sacred space. Think about the chatter and the noise that you're bringing in, whether it be from family and friends. Maybe it's practitioners that you're not really agreeing with right now. Maybe it's just from social media bombarding your feed every day, and you're seeing all of these things that you should be doing, and it's just becoming too much. So take a step back, establish those boundaries, and then move forward and make sure you just really adhere to those boundaries. And I can guarantee it will make your healing journey a lot more smooth, and you'll probably start making a lot bigger strides once you have those in place. So Hopefully this has been helpful. I would love to hear from you guys. Please, please, please do leave me a comment or send me a message. Reach out to me on social media. I'm on Instagram all the time, so if you're over there, I would absolutely love to connect. Or you can shoot me a message on Facebook. There's tons of ways to get a hold of me. Again, not getting rid of my Let's Get Personal posts, and I'm not like getting rid of my community or anything, but I wanted to share this update just so you guys know kind of where I'm coming from. And I will be sharing things about my healing journey. I share a lot of stuff about mindset and just like realizations and reflections that I've had. I just won't be sharing the really nitty-gritty stuff like pictures of my labs and names of my doctors and what my numbers are doing every time I get blood work done and that kind of stuff. So just reeling it in a little bit and honoring those boundaries that I have learned to set for myself. So that is everything for today. I hope it's been helpful. I can't wait to hear from you guys, and I am wishing you all the best on your healing journey. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.